Bertram, where is my television remote control? No, I already looked there. Yes, I'm fairly certain it is not in the toilet. Yes, I'm also fairly certain I have not left it in the library. Now, of course I do not have it in my dressing gown. You Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, joined once again by my faithful manservant / Buck-Totem Bertram, and this is my review for Control. Oh, that's when it was. This is my review for Control Ultimate Edition. Control was originally released in 2019, but unless you are dumb of eyes as well as minds, yes, that is an expression, I think, then you will have noticed that I am in fact reviewing the Ultimate Edition that released for the PlayStation 5 just last month. So, let me summarize the plot as simply as I can for your benefit, dear viewer. To do that, I will have to deduct 100 points from my IQ, which would make my IQ 100 points lower than it is right now. So, we play as Jessie Faden, who comes to the Federal Bureau of Control to find her brother Dylan, who bears more than a striking resemblance to Professor X, but he's not. Soon, Jessie finds herself appointed the director of the Bureau and must contend with a malevolent force called the Hiss, which is a malevolent force that has been unleashed by a gang of angry librarians. I jest. About the librarians, not the Hiss. That's what it's actually called. Now you might be wondering, how exactly does Jessie become the director of the Bureau? Well, it's quite simple. The game begins with the current director, Trench, committing suicide. And that doesn't usually happen until I've been in the room for at least a few hours. Just ask anyone who's ever attended a party with me. No, wait, you can't ask them. They're all dead. On a more serious note, I would love to attend a job interview where my employer killed themselves in front of me. Anything to avoid answering their stupid questions.
So, why do you want this role, Mr. O.C.G?
Because I don't have AIDS, that's why.
Always a good sign.
I should explain. You see, they were casting for an adult movie close to my... never mind. And you might think that's the weirdest thing to happen at the start of the game. Well, no sooner do you arrive in the Federal Bureau of Control, or as it's known, the oldest house, than you meet the janitor, Atty, who mumbles some incoherent rubbish about going behind a sauna, and someone without a face. Kansas, this is not. I'm not even sure it's planet Earth, and I'm fairly certain Atty is an alien. If his accent is anything to go by, he probably comes from a country where they eat children, and it is perfectly normal to have sex with animals. But, this is just a taster, a prelude of the weirdness to come. By the time you finish the game, you'll have dealt with otherworld entities, the astral plane, monsters, mazes, projectors, telekinesis, telepathy, telephones, televisions, a lot of tele-things. You see, dear viewer, the Federal Bureau of Control investigates things that are somewhat supernatural, you might say. The Bureau is like the X-Files if it was directed by David Lynch, starring Tommy Wiseau and Nicolas Cage, and written by H.P. Bloody Lovecraft, with set decoration by my Aunt Beatrice. She's an odd one. The point I'm making is, it's weird. This game is weird, the characters are weird, I'm now weird having played it. Actually, I've always been a bit weird. Moving on. If all this talk of astral planes and monsters sounds confusing, just think of this as a game as nothing more than Jessie looking for her brother Dylan, who bears more than a striking resemblance to Vin Diesel. But he's not. So, what kind of game is Control? Well, I'm so glad you asked, dear viewer. Control is essentially an amalgamation of every game Remedy has made, from Max Payne to Quantum Break. That basically means it's an action-packed supernatural thriller with the occasional live-action sequence and a plot that makes about as much sense as electing the chap who made The Apprentice and wears roadkill on his head the President of the United States. You couldn't write nonsense like that. Speaking of writing, I once interviewed for the position of lead writer at IGN. I remember it like it was yesterday, even though it never happened and I'm making this up for a joke that is in very bad taste.
So, why do you want this position, Mr. O.C.G?
Well, because I don't have AIDS, that's why. Needless to say, I did not get the job. What was I even talking about? Oh, yes. So, we've established that the Bureau is a weird place, and that Jessie has come here looking for her brother Dylan, who bears more than a striking resemblance to Bruce Willis. But he's not. What else can I tell you? Gameplay. Control is a third-person shooter, a la Max Payne. Throughout the game, you get access to your basic roster of firearm types. You know, pistol, shotgun, rifle, etc., etc. You will also gain several abilities, including the ability to float, dodge, and even throw objects at your enemies. You can throw furniture, scenery, toilet bowls, Zimmer frames. No, maybe not Zimmer frames, but you get the picture. So, graphics. This game looked great on the PlayStation 4, and it looks just as great on PlayStation 5. Though, apart from a much better frame rate, I can't say I noticed too many differences. So, at least the game still looks great, as Jessie looks for her brother Dylan, who bears more than a striking resemblance to, a cancer patient? No, can't say that. To a random bald chap? Better, but less funny. No, let's stick with cancer patients. Jessie is looking for her brother, who bears more than a striking resemblance to a cancer patient. But he's not. What else can I tell you? Oh yes, there is even DLC for the game that expands on the story and even confirms that Alan Wake and Control are in the same universe, which I must admit blew my gigantic mind and has me salivating for an Alan Wake 2. Come on, Remedy, let's make it happen. I'll even contribute £18 to your production costs. That's more than I've ever given to charity. Or to a homeless man.
Is there something I can
or
help
to my
with?
wife.
I'm Jessie.
Or to my second wife.
I need to
Or
get
to my third wife.
New director.
Or to my fourth.
Right.
We could be here for quite some time. So let's just wrap this review up, shall we? I played Control more times than I care to admit since it released in 2019. And it is definitely best played on PlayStation 5. This is another great game from Remedy. And this is coming from a chap that personally loved Quantum Break.
Darling wanted him somewhere secure.
Now, Remedy, just bloody make Alan Wake 2.
A pressing matter, ma'am. We've got an object of power.
I'm going to score Control Ultimate Edition an 8 out of 10. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My review for Control Ultimate Edition. If you've enjoyed this little review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, on the other hand, well then, feel free to give me a thumbs down. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, bell button thingy. But remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming. Yes.